It was just another slow Wednesday afternoon at the corner diner when Serena noticed a little boy sitting stiffly in a booth near the window. His hands were clenched, his eyes fixed on the floor. Next to him sat a sharply dressed man, clearly wealthy, but distracted, tapping away on his phone, barely acknowledging the boy. Serena approached gently, placing a kid's menu and crayons on the table with a warm smile. "Want to help me draw a rocket ship?" she asked. The boy didn't answer, but after a pause, he reached for the blue crayon. It wasn't much, but it was something. When Serena returned with their food, she crouched to the boy's level, cutting his pancakes into little pieces without a word. That's when the man looked up, really looked, and saw his son smiling faintly. It was the first time he'd seen that smile in months. The man was Raymond Holt, a billionaire CEO used to control and efficiency, but in that quiet moment, he saw something he couldn't buy: connection. And the woman who brought it into his son's life? Just a diner waitress with a kind heart, but one who was about to change all their lives forever. Serena's first weeks at Holt Dynamics were nothing short of overwhelming. Every hallway echoed with the click of designer shoes. Every meeting moved at lightning speed, and everyone seemed to speak a language she was still learning. Despite her new title, Special Advisor to the CEO, some colleagues viewed her as an outsider. She overheard whispers in the elevator and noticed side glances during boardroom meetings. One executive even muttered something under his breath about affirmative favors, a thinly veiled form of discrimination that stung more than she expected. But Serena didn't let it shake her. She reminded herself why she was there, not for status, but because of something real, something heartwarming that had happened between her and Daniel. Raymond, true to his word, supported her from day one. He didn't want a yes woman. He wanted someone who could see beyond numbers and charts. Serena brought fresh perspective into spaces long ruled by ego and routine. She suggested changes to employee policies, started small conversations with lower-level staff, and slowly built trust across the company. What surprised many was how naturally she adapted, not by pretending to fit in, but by staying true to who she was. Her warmth, intuition, and genuine concern for others became her greatest strengths. Bit by bit, Serena wasn't just surviving in this world, she was starting to change it. Just as Serena was beginning to find her rhythm at Holt Dynamics, the atmosphere shifted. A confidential report detailing upcoming layoffs and internal restructuring was somehow leaked to the media. The fallout was immediate. Employees panicked, stock prices wavered, and trust inside the company began to erode. And then, without warning, Serena was called into a closed-door meeting with the legal team. Someone had planted digital traces pointing to her login credentials. She was stunned. Everything she had built, the trust, the respect, even her connection with Raymond was suddenly hanging by a thread. Some whispered it was only a matter of time before the waitress made a mistake. Others were less subtle, throwing around accusations tinted with the same quiet discrimination she had felt since her first day. Raymond didn't say much, but his silence hurt more than words. For the first time, she questioned if she truly belonged in this world of polished power and corporate politics. Still, there were people who believed in her especially, those whose lives she had touched with her heartwarming empathy. A junior IT analyst who Serena had once defended came forward with doubts about the evidence. Together, they began quietly digging into the data trail, piecing together something that didn't quite add up. Serena knew she was being set up, but she also knew this wasn't just about her anymore. It was about standing up for truth, for integrity, and for the people who couldn't afford to lose their voices. Late one night, As Serena and the junior analyst combed through login timestamps and server access records, something finally clicked. A high-level executive one who had openly questioned Serena's qualifications from day one had used a backdoor access point to frame her. Armed with solid evidence, Serena knew it was time to confront the truth. She walked straight into Raymond's office, tired but determined. To her relief, he listened not as a CEO weighing risks, but as a man who remembered that heartwarming moment when his son first smiled again. Together, they launched a quiet, internal investigation. When the truth came out, the saboteur was forced to resign, and Serena's name was cleared in front of the entire executive board. But Raymond did more than just apologize. He stood beside her in that room and publicly acknowledged the injustice she had faced. He admitted that his silence had allowed subtle discrimination to fester unchecked, and in doing so, he helped restore her dignity. The ordeal didn't break. Serenade refined her. Through every late-night email, every whisper in the hallway, every moment she questioned herself, she'd held on to what mattered most: honesty, resilience, and the belief that one person can still make a difference. Her bond with Raymond, once rooted in gratitude, now grew from genuine respect. And Daniel? He was watching it all quietly, inspired by a woman who stood her ground and helped change a world that once tried to push her out. With her name cleared and respect restored, Serena didn't return to her old life. She stepped into a new role entirely. No longer just an advisor, she was now a leader in reshaping Holt Dynamics from the inside out. Her journey from diner waitress to executive wasn't just heartwarming. It became a beacon of hope across the company. Employees who had once felt invisible found their voices again. Policies shifted, focusing more on mental health, flexible hours for parents, and accountability at every level. Serena worked side by side with Raymond to ensure that what happened to her would never happen to anyone else. But she didn't stop there. Inspired by her connection with Daniel and the barriers she'd witnessed firsthand, Serena proposed something bold: a nonprofit initiative focused on supporting children with disabilities and their families. Raymond backed her fully, contributing millions in seed funding. The program provided therapy scholarships, caregiver support, and inclusive education workshops. What began as a simple act of kindness in a diner had now grown into a movement. The media covered the story, praising the company's transformation and Serena's resilience. But for her, the real reward came in moments outside the spotlight, when a parent wrote in to thank the foundation, or when Daniel hugged her without hesitation. Through trials, betrayal, and even discrimination, Serena had emerged stronger. And together with Raymond and Daniel, she built something that would last far beyond quarterly earnings: a legacy of compassion, integrity, and change.